Let me tell you a little something, Matt, about how I operate as a regional cable journalist. Like, I do things, I call it a blank show when they lose in the manner they did. I call it a blank show. And so I think, who would be a good guest out of this? Montgomery's probably not going to be real chatty because he pitched well enough, 6 scoreless. I'll get it. I'm going to get Mo. I'm going to say, I'm not going to scream at him. I'm not going to call him a cheap choker. But I'm going to ask him, what's going on with this ball club? I promise. I'm going to say, what's going on? That's fair, right? So that's what I'll do today. There will be a level of accountability. But, sorry, text line, I'm not going to punch him. I'm not going to call him a name. I'm not going to call him a cheap choker because I don't do that. But I'm going to say, what's going on? This ain't the plan. Is that a fair question?
That's a fair question.
What's going on? Is that a fair way to ask?
How about this?
That's what I'll do.
Do it like Jerry Seinfeld. What's the deal?
What's the deal
with these Redbirds?
What do you think he's going to say? What do you think he's going to say, Jimmy?
He'll say, well, Jim, it's not ideal, but we still believe that this team is talent. And then everyone go, he's a cheap joker. But, I mean, it is early, but it's getting later than it was. And, I mean, it's not good. Last night was an awful loss. Montgomery did his best to get through really some tough sledding. It looked like he was going to blow up, and he didn't. 6 scoreless. Verhagen came in and gave it up. And you can say, well, it's Verhoeven. That's probably true. But how about this? They didn't hit. They were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. All their metrics, all the stats about, offense, are pretty good, except they don't hit with runners in scoring position. They don't get the big hit. That offense should get more than 0. And granted, they were facing Alex Cobb, who's a decent pitcher, but he's Alex Cobb. You tell me you can't get a few runs. Yeah, there's some problems. And as good as they are defensively, like Donovan was great. Contreras had a great play. It was an error at second base by Tommy to kind of open things up. And I think the outfield corner sometimes not great defense. So there are definitely some issues. I will say, though, if you look at the numbers, it's not great, but the starting rotation is starting to be better. I'm not saying they're good. I mean, the ERA from the last 12 games is probably still 4 point something, but compared to where it was, it's getting a little better. And I think everyone expected the offense would have to be big in a lot of games for them to win. And right now, they're not doing that consistently. Now, some games there's an outburst, and others the bats are too quiet. And I would say that's my synopsis.
That's a great synopsis.
Damn right.
I feel like John Mozeliak will say something like this. Clearly, we haven't played well, but net, I still like our club. And here's a problem, though, Kat, don't you think? Look, we know it's early. Now, it's not that early, but also you're falling pretty far behind. I'm not saying you can't come back from 7 games, but 7 games back already with 3 teams ahead of you. Oh. I'm not saying the Pirates are going to stick around for 162, but 7 games in late April is a pretty deep hole already.
Yeah, it's a hole. But I honestly think in that division, I think teams are going to have ups and downs, and you can make up that ground. So, if I'm the Cardinals, I'm not looking at the standings right now. I'm looking at my own ball club and going, how do we put a run together? Like, we're good enough to rattle off 6, 7 wins in a row, but we're not. What's going on? And they're 0 for 8 in series opening games. So you put yourself in a hole each and every series. They got to be better than this. I don't know what the answer is. To me, the starting pitching, it's not great. It's not. I get that, but they should be scoring 4 to 6, 7 runs a game. I think, don't you think? I mean, they have the lineup to be able to do that. And then, and no offense, it's Alex Cobb. It's not Cy Young. You got to get some runs. Am I wrong with that? To me, that's the most curious part.
When you're in that ballpark, which you can get the ball up and out of there. I don't know what the wind was doing last night, and I wanted to ask you how that factored in. But, I think that the biggest thing that stands out to the Cardinals, again, is that situational hitting has been bad. But they also can't put together a complete game. At the beginning of the year, they're falling behind, and, it's hard to play catch-up every day. And now, you're not even getting off the ground against an Alex Cobb who goes out there and Maddoxes you almost.
Shoved. He shoved.
He's got an ERA under 2. He's better than every single one of the Cardinals
He's
pitchers.
dang good.
And when you think Giants, you think Juan Marshall, you think Christy Mathewson, Alex Cobb. I mean, am I wrong, Cat?
Listen. Cobb is a decent pitcher. You should be able to get some runs. Instead, they made Cobb salad out of him. And I would say that there's one person who was heroic last night. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but it was really cold, and I stayed in that camera well the whole dang game. And it was cold. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for being a hero and battling the cold, because it was cold.
It was only 2 hours and 20-minute ball game.
He worked, Charlie, and he was freezing.
I could say if it was 3.5 hours. He
was freezing.
It was 2:20. It was a quick, tidy little game.
Guy.
I fell asleep. It was 0-0. I woke up. All of a sudden, I'm watching the post-game show. This team is terrible.
These jokers. So I will say this on a side note. I sent you boys a video. So I forgot toothpaste. So my first day here, I woke up. I walked to the Walgreens a few blocks over, and I saw everything. I'm not making up. Everything is under lock and key. Like, if you've ever bought Suave shampoo, Suave, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
It's like the lowest. Like I noticed that's under lock and key. Certainly toothpaste was under lock and key. And I was like, wow, this might be overboard. And then I literally saw someone being arrested for trying to walk out with stuff where there was a nice scuffle. And then there was a crazy lady who just started screaming at everyone in the place. And I took video, but not to post on social media, because everyone does that. I just wanted to send it to my friends, Charlie and Cam, just so they could join me in a little slice of San Francisco.
Did you get that?
And
I did. Why not post that on TikTok, though? Might get you some views there, buddy.
Yeah, because you know what? Like, it's bad. Everyone knows it's bad. You know, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to make San Francisco make my experience in San Francisco look worse than it was. I just saw some horrendous thing. I saw.
God!
I did see a guy sleeping in a puddle of urine. But I wasn't going to post any of that on TikTok.
Was it the Cardinals bats?
Posted,
Matty throwing bomb. He's throwing bomb today.
Sorry.
Who do you blame? Maybe that's who do you blame?
Who do we blame?
I blame my expectations. That's
For
who
San Francisco or the Cardinals?
No, not for San Francisco. There's I don't know, who's the mayor in San Francisco?
Yeah,
doing a good job.
Do they have
doing
one?
a good job?
Do they have one?
Is it still? I think it's Gavin Newsom. I think he's still the mayor here. No, for the Cardinals,
Well, I mean, I got
The leaders?
I got all hopped up on Sunday. Paul DeYoung's coming back hitting bombs. And then I had nothing yesterday. I don't know who else I'm supposed to turn to. I don't see Arenado didn't show up for work.
He didn't show up for work.
He wasn't there. I don't know what to do with this team, Cat.
Well, Arenado got a scheduled day off.
I don't like it.
Said, that. Everyone was like, "Boy, it's the first game of a series. Let's give him game 2 or 3 off or whatever." And Paul DeYoung, I think he's still hitting 400, 500 after going 3 for 4 in his first game. By the way, I root for that guy because I just think he could have walked away. He's got millions in the bank, got a contract that's going to pay him still.
Why would he walk away from that money?
Because he's got a lot of money. I don't even think what he's been through is kind of. I'm not saying everyone would, but I mean he's got a biochemistry degree. He's got already a bunch of the money, and he's got a lot of other interests. I'm just saying it shows me because he could have walked away. I think what he went through is kind of humiliating in a way. He lost it all at once. I'm not blaming him. It's his fault he didn't hit. But I think to fight his way back like he did instead of – we've seen other players just kind of fade away, and he kept going. So I give him credit for that. I root for him for that reason.
What's everybody – like when you walk in the locker room and you kick those doors open, Jimmy,
like you do.
and you stare into their soul, like what's the morale like in that clubhouse? Are people down and out? Are they up? Like, give me something.
This team doesn't care.
What's going on?
as soon as I walk in, there's like a don't say it, because they know accountability just drove through that door, so they're terrified. No, it's funny. You talk to Goldschmidt after the game, and he's like, "Look, we think we're better than this, but there's a lot of times when no one panics." And it is. I think that's an element of truth to that. And they're like, "What about this 0 for 8 in games that start a series?" And he's like, "It's not like we're taking to that. Like you kind of focus on each game every day, and you're not thinking, oh, we better win this. Like after we win, he said, we're not like, oh, okay, this was a great win, and we're going to do like you just go to the next one and try to win that. You just take it game by game with it, which is a cliche, but I don't see anyone like I could see there's after a game like that, Montgomery's a little ticked off, obviously. And no one's happy about losing, but I don't see anyone like screaming at each other or, breaking up the clubhouse. I honestly think that they believe, and whether or not it's going to happen remains to be seen. But I honestly believe that they believe that they're better than this and their play will improve.
What happens if it doesn't? And it trends this way. Is the seat getting a little hot for Ollie? People want to know on the text line. That's a kind of the big question. I'm just asking.
I don't think so. Here's why. I mean, Mo has been through some managers, in this stretch, and Ollie's still new. And even if it is all his fault, which I don't believe it is, I don't think they're going to make a move with Ollie now. But I do think they have so much room to start dealing guys. Like they can make a bunch of trades because they have extra pieces. They have the ability to move this guy here and do without that guy and bring in another piece. So that's what I think. But I'm not saying that Ollie's not feeling the pressure. I think he is. I think you can see it. But I don't think he's going to be whacked if they lose another 5 in a row. I could be wrong. And the other thing about Mo, which everyone wants him whacked, is, he and DeWitt, like it isn't like Mo does things and brings it to DeWitt. Like the whole team operates with those guys together. And the third, Billy the Third's part of it. And so, if DeWitt's kind of signing off on stuff too. So I don't think anything drastic is going to happen in the short term. Now, Waino's pitching a rehab tonight for Springfield, and if he's going 75 pitches, and if he comes back, it's kind of like making a trade.
It is.
A big trade?
Big trade.
Is that a big trade?
Well, if you're Jake Woodford, it feels like a big trade because it's his spot that Waino would take. I don't know. To me, I think Matt said it. Like there's so many things that are not in sync right now. It's hard to pick out the worst. But to me, the most shocking thing is you're not hitting. Like that's the very least that this team should do. And they have game after game where they're like 1 for 9. Last night, 0 for 6 runners in scoring position. They're not getting a big hit. Every once in a while they'll get it and they'll post 7 runs. To me, that's the thing that to me is hard to understand, and I do think it'll get better.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the offense. I think some of that runners in scoring position stuff is going to equalize over time, and all of a sudden, weather gets a little warmer, bats heat up. I do think the Cardinals are going to be better. My question is, even with Waino coming back, look at a couple years ago, Cardinals go on the 17-game winning streak and all that. And I'm not saying they need that to climb back into this race. It's so early, but I don't think this team can go on long runs with this starting rotation. I really don't. I just don't think the rotation is good enough to put – I'm serious – to put 2 turns through the rotation.
I didn't laugh. I was just sniffling. Okay.
No, I'm just saying, like, to me, for the Cardinals to win 9 straight, they probably have to score 7 runs a game. Like, I don't think 2 times through the rotation, this rotation is good enough to go on a long winning streak.
Yeah, but I do think the starting pitching will get better too. I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. I think they're good enough to go on a run. Okay, maybe how about a 7 game? I don't know.
4.
But I don't think Michaelis is. I don't think he's shot. He hasn't pitched well. I think Montgomery's showing well. I have no idea what Waino will be. I have no idea. If someone said, "Look, he's 41 and he hasn't pitched in a while except for a couple of minor league rehabs. I don't know what he's going to be." And I'd say, yeah, I don't either. So, I mean, to me, that's a question mark. They do have some young arms at last check, and I haven't looked in the last few days. They do have some young arms who are showing well that are possibilities that they could be promoted to help the starting rotation. Yeah, but I think it's fair to question all of that. You know, I think they're going to hit too. I do think warm weather usually brings out better offense. And last night was cold. As a man who spent the whole game bravely in
God,
the
you okay?
220.
Damn, Charlie.
140,
Show some respect.
140 minutes.
So
why does Charlie always take time? Well, maybe it is because I said I was heroic by being down there. But
Yeah, well.
Well, you know what? I feel bad because yesterday you did go through. It was a tough day.
Oh, Charlie.
You had the Tucker news early. You had a shutout. You had a shutout loss. So we feel for you.
Listen. The bad news about Tucker.
Oh, God.
And now I don't know where I'm going to get my opinion.
I know.
Now I have
Jimmy.
to find somebody else.
Yep.
And Don Lemon's gone too, so you can't go to him anymore.
Can't go to him anymore.
But the good news for me, sure, Tucker's a tough loss. But when President Biden announces he's running again, that makes me feel great for America.
Yep.
So, sometimes there's bad news, Charlie. Sometimes there's good news. There's good news. And I think it always balances out, except with this Cardinals team who doesn't hit and doesn't get good pitching, and sometimes it doesn't balance out.
well, maybe
But better days are ahead.
They are.
I do believe.
that was going to be my thing. Is that maybe today is
so
better
funny,
days for us because you've got a unique matchup in Jake Woodford versus John Brebbia going to the mound here today. That's a curious combination there.
So this is funny. So I was in the clubhouse early yesterday. I shouldn't say before it was open because I was trying to line up some stuff.
Because you work that hard.
He's
That's
working.
why.
That's gosh dang why.
And who strolls in to the clubhouse but John Brebbia? And so I started looking up his stuff because sometimes when things aren't going well, like for the Cardinals, it's the same kind of stuff spit out every show. So I'm thinking he would be good to grab for an interview because he's always fun and he's always light. And I looked up his numbers, and it's like, hey, he's not pitching great. It was really good last year, not pitching great this year. And then all of a sudden, I hear he's going to start today, which is kind of great. So it's Jake and Brebs. Yeah, I look forward to that. And Brebbia is a pretty solid. One of their broadcasters told me that Brebbia hit 97 with a fastball on the radar gun this year. I don't remember him ever coming close to that as a Cardinal. Do you guys?
Well, that's the wind.
It's the wind.
It's the wind out there. He's catching the right current. He's figured it out. And also, he's got less. I'm imagining he's got less beard right now.
Yeah.
He throws harder earlier in the season, according to my sports stat bureau I just opened a couple seconds ago.
Yeah, he does. He lets it go. He starts clean shaven, and then he lets the thing grow out. But for the Cardinals to not have that guy who could start for them just shows me they're cheap chokers.
Oh, man, oh, man. Well, be careful out there, Jimmy. A lot of crazy stuff going on. And now you don't really know because you can't watch Tucker, so just be careful. That's all. If you got to go get toothpicks or something from Walgreens, just keep your head on a swivel.
What about the hotel? They don't have. You're telling me the hotel, you're probably staying at the Four Seasons, they don't have any toothpaste down at the front desk?
All locked up.
I just walked to Walgreens.
But why not go to the front desk?
So here's why. Oh, I didn't have, like, free? Yeah,
yes.
I said I got a long road
Yes, you've
trip.
never asked for anything for free before.
No, I'm just saying I have a 7-day road trip, so I went and bought toothpaste. I didn't ask for it. I just figured, all right, I'll go buy some. There's a Walgreens right down the street. Are you asking? And guess what? I was like, I'll walk around a little bit. Is that a bad thing?
Is that a bad thing, Charlie?
Bought toothpaste?
Is that a bad
Well, I think I would like for you to walk around and actually film it, and you should post that on social media.
Yeah,
but I think if you're out of toothpaste, you go to the front desk, they give you a little mini...
Little guy.
Right, they give you a little mini, but I still got a week. I have done that, like when you wake up and you don't have toothpaste, you don't have time. I had time, so I went and bought some. I actually had the remnants of a mini one in my bag, but I was like, I need new toothpaste, and that I'll use that at home too. So I went and bought it, and I just want you to know that unless you tell me otherwise, Charlie, because you're my guru for social media, if you're like a sports guy and you're doing like stupid TikToks or whatever, like doing like, oh look, there's human feces, man. oh, there's a crazy person like throwing up in Walgreens and cursing at everyone. Like, I don't want to put that on my feed. Am I wrong?
Well,
I don't know.
Okay, what's the difference? Because you told us about it on the radio.
Because the difference is on TikTok, I don't talk about everything. You're my family, and you say, "How's your trip?" And I tell you what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
You don't see the difference?
Well, I'm saying if you're trying to portray what's going on in San Francisco, you can do it multiple ways. You can do it visually, but you're telling the same stories on the radio, so it's really not that much different than providing the video.
A different can of worms.
No, the difference is I'm not really trying to portray. I'm just telling you what I saw, and on TikTok, I'm not doing any of that. I just do a stupid little dugout thing. I'm not portraying how things are going with the Cardinals. Yesterday, I did a little TikTok that said, Cardinals open up a big series in San Francisco. The only thing I can predict about tonight is it will be cold. So I didn't portray anything. So I don't think it fits. When I talk to you guys, you could ask me about how Tyler's baseball is going. He has a game tonight. You can ask me about Stella, why I feel the need to bring her into work. None of these things would appear on my TikTok feed.
All right, here's a better question. Let's portray it this way. What's worse? What's worse? Downtown San Francisco or the Cardinals starting rotation?
Oh.
Well, I can tell you this. The mayor of San Francisco, Gavin Newsom, or whoever it is, you know what he is? Because they have funds at their disposal that can make it better. He's a cheap choker.
He is a cheap choker. He is.
Whoever's the mayor in San Francisco is a cheap choker.
No, Jimmy, is it like if you walk outside the Four Seasons, and that's supposed to be a nice area of San Francisco, when you look both ways down the street, is it chaos?
No.
Okay.
I'm not,
I'm curious.
He's in the financial district.
Yeah, but he just walked to Walgreens and some lady's taking a piss on the floor and stealing things.
Are you talking about like Mad Max chaos?
I'm just saying, is it scummy?
No. Okay. I walked around a little bit, and I did see some homeless folks lying in urine and stuff, which probably happens in every city.
Yeah.
And you can go blocks and blocks and not see any. It's not total chaos. It's not that bad. But I am saying, like, I was surprised because the first place that I walked to was Walgreens, thinking, you're not going to see that stuff in every Walgreens. And literally the second I walked in, I saw it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not ideal, but you can walk for blocks, and I wasn't scared. I didn't see people running around, throwing Molotov cocktails at each other. It wasn't that bad.
That's up north.
There's a lot of nice streets, so don't be an idiot.
Cap, before you go, I gotta ask you for my own interest. How about those Knicks, baby?
Oh, the Knicks.
How about them Knicks?
I love it, and you know what it is that Brunson is 10 times better than I thought he'd ever be. I mean, you actually have a guy at crunch time who can take the game over by making smart plays, as opposed and Randall's great. I love him, but crunch time sometimes he jacks up a three, that he had no business shooting, and it's crunch time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But Brunson is like the perfect, and I like everyone on that team, but Brunson is their best option to take a game over late.
You're right.
He can pass a little bit, but he takes solid shots.
He does.
All we need,
yes, he does.
All we need now is for Mo to bring somebody in we can say about that in the Cardinals pitching staff that's better than we thought, and the only way we can get there is accountability.
Start yelling at people, Kat. Seriously.
Throw somebody in the bay out there with the Sharks.
Oh, with the Sharks.
You know what else they're doing now, which we had never really talked about? Like, I always thought, okay, you're going to have righty, righty, righty. That's your middle of the order, right? It's going to be Goldie. It's going to be Arenado. It's going to be Contreras. I was like, at some point they're going to slap a lefty. They just don't know who. Now it's Gorman, which I like that. I like to see a lineup that kind of switches it around, makes it tougher on the opposing pitcher. Maybe at some point that will take root, and the Cardinals will start scoring runs in bunches on a consistent basis. I think they have it in them.
I think you're right. We're praying. And listen, I'm praying for you too, Jimmy. No more Tucker. It's going to be a long process. We're going to miss him.
What if he runs for president?
We're going to miss him.
What if he runs for president?
Ooh. That'd be kind of cool.
Bob Barker?
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. But anyway, Jimmy, go do your thing, dude, and we'll be watching tonight. Stay warm.
All right. See you guys.
See you, dude.
See ya.
Later, buddy.
See you, buddy.
Jimmy the Cat Hayes busting his ass up in San Francisco, dodging bullets, dodging getting puked on at Walgreens, freezing his ass off, bringing us good content. That's Jimmy the Cat Hayes for you.
Team player, baby.
He's a team player. Doesn't the opponent?
I'm on tactic.
I love the Wayno story, but he can't be a starter. Bullpen at best, Monty. What up, dude? Rotation sucks. Charlie's right. Yes, their problem's Ollie, and they suck. Sounds like Marmol is doing a suck job getting the team ready each series. What calendar date where the Cardinals are in last place does Marmol get sent packing? Oh. When does Marmol get sent to the unemployment line?
How about also,
They're
though,
not that good. That's the answer, Cat.
who put the rotation together? I'm not saying Ollie's done a great job. He didn't sign all the pitchers.
No.
Are we missing?
Fire Schilt.
That worked last time.
I love it. Man. It's so funny, man.
Are we missing Mike Maddox more than we thought we would?
Maybe.
We're missing Yachty a little more than we thought we would behind
Maybe.
the dish.
Jeff Albert, who we all complained about, and then he finally got it going actually last year.
Yeah.
Then he moves on.
Yep. Man, maybe some of those guys need some mentality. Looks like they don't have any testosterone. I'm not going to lie to you. The way they're swinging that bat.
Who specifically do you think?
Arenado.
Wow.
He's low on
Do you think
He's
he
low
lacks
T
testosterone?
USA.
You think
does.
he's full of estrogen?
Lately.
Think he's full of estrogen?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Watch him at the plate. Doesn't know what to do. Barely even hold the
How
bat.
about not so many off days early in the year?
Well, if you had
how about you
testosterone-
win some games first and then maybe rest the guys at the end of the year?
Yeah, I know.